I don't know if that's loud enough. That should be alright. Methinks. Pretty good, you know, this epidemic sound. Oh, finishing my brew. It's different size actually for when I did Viconia. I don't know the words. Woo. Let's make a bistro. Biastri. I'll tell them. It's gonna be. Yep, kid. How are you doing today, mate? I'm good, thank you. Football was cancelled this morning by referee because the ground was frozen. So they won't let the 8-year-olds run around on it and risk, you know, life-threatening injuries. When I were a lad, the big glass on the pitch, yeah. So that were a bit rubbish. Lucy's still poorly, so we didn't do gymnastics. I got to go to Asda. That was exciting times. Really exciting. Other than that, chill. Oh no. I don't really like doing the stats. I've never really done a. I don't usually do the monster side of it, of the area. I don't know if they're doing that Paul again. I mean, it was, you know, riveting. So that's pretty cool. Lovely. Making sounds from what critters are you looking at going for? I've no idea. Literally no idea. Right. Coming up with a fluff and lore about how monarchs were made and dragons descended from the skies. I can kind of do that. But I've never done a pastry before. Pastry. Pastry. Pasty.
Why did he not go?
So, who knows? Who knows?
He not even finished all his
Dun, 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 dun. I'm just trying to. I'm actually looking at the Monster Manual now to see how they do their like creatures and such. Scorpion style creature with fists instead of claws and a grabber instead of a swift stinger. It can climb really good. I mean, a punchy, I suppose anything punchy is pretty badass. A punchy scorpion. I always find like creatures with hands though to be more I don't know what's the word can't think of it, although we won't write it off. Let's put it in there. Let's put it down. Grabber instead. Okay, we'll go with that. Let's have that. Let's have some more. Give me more. Give me more. Hey, Bardic. Humanoid, Jesus, okay. Anthropomorphic looks, right. No, you'll totally use them against us. Only if you go there, Bardic, right? I'm not saying some of these creatures may, jump on a ship, sail across to Ravenholm and start biting you. But these are for Etoria specific, so I mean scorpions is there in there. There's no way that some of this stuff won't have been done before, like, but there's Rams. This has done me already. I tell you. A winged belly dragging lizard that has a frog-like tongue. I mean, you're going full art here, aren't you? Ding. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to that. Let's go back. What do we have? What was that one that you said? The Kida.
Then you got cats.
Ah, big sea creatures. Behemoths. Don't know if it'll do it. Well, let's have a look. Winged belly dragon lizard that has a frog-like tongue. Okay, let's have that. Let's get that in there. What's the land like? I love it. Yeah, what's the land like? Just do the meme dragon and have something that has reproductive spores as breath weapon. Also, I always love a good monstrous sea creature living just off the coast. Okay. What's the land like? Mediterranean. Ancient Greece and those northern parts like Thrace. And not so much Egypt, but you know, not as far across as that. But definitely ancient Greece would be the closest land, you know, description. Just put fiendish. Proven fact. Mountain as it's known to most of Etoria. Oh, I'm on one. Most of Etoria is a that lives that's not the word I was looking for. Bam, 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 bam.
Was it fun?
Nice. Let's see. true name of the creature.
I'll be like,
Can be found if one wishes to adventure to the core of the mountain. Partially invisible goat. I'll take that. Ethereal goat. What was that? What else we got? Tiny fire spinach, but no bigger than a rhino beetle, known to cause forest fires in the dry season.
I tried
Boom!
to run away from Thingy's dog.
Oh, that's a big stick. Oh, it just whipped the dog. That's a really fat dog.
That's the type of dog I would want.
Yeah, Kida. Oh. Dun, 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 dun. What else? Yeah, there's a ton of them already.
Can I just watch?
Ton of like Greek myths and stuff. That's why I don't honestly know if it's necessary, but I just want to see if I can. I've never done it before. Try and come up with a few. Although it looks like I'm just going to nick your ideas, kiddo. So when I'm a millionaire, I'll buy you McDonald's. That is a 100 by the god of your underworld, Lord. I've tried to reclaim more souls during the dry season to pad his numbers out. So it's not just famine that working against people during dry season, but the risk of huge fire also. That's cool. I don't really have a god of the underworld in Etoria. I kind of stayed away from that whole Hades and Zeus sort of thing, even because obviously there's a lot of Greek. Oh, you know, I tried to bastardise Greek mythology to work. But, well, there isn't yet. That doesn't mean one of the 12 don't prefer the underworld. You off to bed, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah!
It's on my bed. So, what?
You was on the stream. The fish, that's pretty cool. Armoured fish. Fish used by locals. Not a danger. And basket. Extremely reflective. Assuming there is a source of light. Big creature. What's ship travel like in this place? Same, normal. You get on a ship, it's got sails. If you've got loads of money or a powerful wizard, then you can obviously do better stuff, but it's just normal shipping. What's the sandstone? What's the That's me done. That's my exercise done for the day. Periscope like tentacle that can span the decks of ships for easy grabbable food. Nice to find prey and intricate cave systems underwater. That's not too bad. You could do like that, you know, the what do you call the fish with the absolute, like, the massive eyes, all the teeth, anglerfish, is it? And then the thing. You just do that little orb sort of comes up, starts like looking around the place. I like that. Anglerfish, yeah, there you go. A balloon-like frog that releases hallucinogenic toxin when provoked. Like a gas attack, so don't breathe it in. Deck of ships for free, anglerfish like balloon frog. Oh, what's my balloon? No. Frog with gas attack. Da-da. Yeah, I'll write them down, kid. I'll just add them to my bullet points. I'll have a use them or I won't. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Is that how you spell it? That's obvious. There we go. Miles and miles, tunnels run all around the creature as those that dwell within man to feed it. There's no animosity from it, no demand for power or such things. It is merely an ancient creature that fell asleep one day and woke with a mountain around it. Dun, 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 dun. Mevonics. Armadillo! Crunchy on the outside, chewy on the inside. Off bar donkey. Chewy nougat. Oh, it dime bar armadillo, wasn't it? Or was it? Armadillo was dime bar, wasn't it? Claws are poisonous, cruel like 30 miles an hour, is blind and relies solely on sound and smell. That's not bad. Blind. Unseen cat. Dime bar, yeah. Wagon wheel. Got a wagon wheel. Dime bar. I had a dime bar. Like actual years. There we go. Yeah. I was about to look at something and I've forgotten. Oh my god. I don't know if you can hear the music or not. My bad. Oh. However, it's obvious. Shows bond and friendship. Form. I always put form instead of from. Ba-da-ba-boom. Ba-da-bee. Oh. Many Archville. Oh. They cursed. Torius. Eternal slumber. precious state. Fakers to uphold. Determined to reach their friend, the hound. I know. Here's what I've told you come. To deny the hold of a fair curse upon oneself is an incredible feat, but loyalty and love of their friendship drove Octavius hard on and on. To where sleep finally curse finally took hold. The mountain at the request of Celestial Hound. At the request of the Celestial Hound. What's the word? Swallowed Octavius and held them in its protect. Held. Nope. Hello, monster boss making. Namkanator. Sort of. More monster. So, short version. We're doing a source book to come out next year in our nation. It's called Etoria. So I've written all the lore. See all this? It's all lovely. Look at this. Look at this. It's all lovely. Look. Yay. Geeky lore. Woo, woo. All the like deities and such. Tonight, I've never done one, but I'm trying to come up with a bestiary. A Greg's bestiary. So we've got a few of these. So it's more like creatures that would live in Etoria. Whether they be like this one, which is a bit of a gargantuan monster, but not really a fighting monster, or if it's just like a drake with massive bat-like ears that hunts rodents and such. Calder the Necromancer. Hello! Is it me? A floating fat squirrel, similar to Furby. Long tails that hold them to the ground when they sleep. I love that one. That's going in, Kida. That is going in. I can't spell squirrel. Oh, sticky tails that keep them grounded when they sleep. So you can see there, Namkanator, that it's just, fauna. Is that the right word? Fauna of Etoria. sometime after the war. Yeah, 400, there you go. As a DM coming out of retirement, I always appreciate in-depth monster details. However, how much of this do you expose to the players and characters? So, for what I'm writing at the minute, so I run my players plan on Tuesday. Yeah, come check us out. 8 o'clock till 11. Blah 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 blah. There's my there's my plug. There you go. However, what we're trying to do is the world that we created for obviously the games we play in. We're trying to write all that world. So during lockdown, we managed to do like 300 pages, and it were like every month we released an e-magazine. It was basically a chunk from a certain area of the world that we'd created in. Kicksand, hey, how are you? I'm good, Kick. Thank you. How are you? But what we're going to try and do next year is release quite like that 300 pages was spread over 12 months, and each month had had a few pages itself, like 20 to 30 pages, like just a snapshot of that area. Etoria is a bit of a passion of mine, so we're trying to write a massive source book of it. So if I was to pick up a source book, this is the stuff that would be in it. If regarding my players, I mean, my actual players are nowhere near this nation. They're in a different nation that I obviously write more and more for. And I try to anything I come up with, I will try to, expose. Most players, or at least a lot of my players, tend to love law rolls. The law roll everything. Can I do an arcana check? Can I do a religion check? Can I do a history check? Which is cool, because they're in your own bro world and they want to know what it's all about. Just means I have to have it written down for when they do it. So, I like to expose them to most of the stuff I write. Appreciate that. I mean, in-depth monster detail. This is new to me, because I don't generally do... I struggle with creating monsters. Kick, share, chat. Alright, I know what you like. You don't have to spam it. I love you. I don't know if I said I'm making a D&D encyclopedia with a ton of resources for the DMs to use on the go. I've got shop names... Loads of stuff, Kick. Loads. Alright, but take it easy. Breathe in between your sentences. I don't know if that answered your question, Namkinator, but yeah. I mean, this particular creature, it's not even that, like, you know what I mean? It's not like an ancient dragon once wandered the lands of Etoria. It's just something I think that's cool and interesting. I'd finish this walk. I was stuck. Comfortable, but stuck. They called out. Oh, we can't do a T. And never answered. As it was a different celestial hand now. However, much to the love. Nope, much to the. However. A following of the first hand. All took oaths to remain within the mountain. Okay. Well, Etoria. Etoria. Simple. Stats. Yeah. I don't really want to start a creature that's just... No. You don't need stats for that thing. I'm going to do the floating fat squirrel because I like that. Anyway, I'm a lurk in the car passenger. Mobile data sucks. Yeah, no worries, Kick. No worries. Thank you. Ken, I've been doing a lot of research, finding patterns of DMs spending lots of hours being very detailed, yet only expose a small fraction of those details to players, even smaller details to the actual characters in game. Why do you think that pattern exists? The iceberg theory. All about the iceberg theory. Now I'm Kate it. So, I don't know if you know the iceberg theory, but it's a very simple... If you're writing a story, if you're creating a world, Dungeon Masters fall into it, quite a lot of Games Masters, whatever you title you pick. Everyone gets exposed to the tip of the iceberg. The players, the characters, the reader of your story. Nobody gets to see what's beneath the surface of the water. You check out an iceberg and get that whole pan out and see the iceberg. The iceberg beneath the water is massive. The amount of effort and work that goes into just showing 5 people that turn up to your table, you know, once a week, once a fortnight, it is ridiculous. For example, there's a monarch. How did the monarch start? Do they have kids? If they have kids, who's first in line? Does the youngest inherit the throne or does the oldest inherit the throne? If they've got 12 kids, is any of them adopted? John the Bastard, Snow. You know what I mean? Like, you go on and on and you can keep going and keep going. Before you know it, you spent an entire weekend creating up a family tree of a monarchy just to tell your players when they turn up, ah yeah, Queen Liz is in charge. Do you know what I mean? So that's what the pattern exists, because that's just how storytelling is done. All the beneath the surface, so the iceberg theory, just Google it. Beneath the surface, you build all that up in your head. So when you do get to the point of delivery, you're just showing them the tip of the iceberg. And, you know, I found, like, I've worked with, some of my friends, God bless them, they will sit there and they will build a world for no reason. They ain't dungeon mastering, they're not writing a novel or anything like this. They're just building a world. That literally, it's a hobby of theirs. So they will put incredible amounts of effort into, you know, the finest detail of why this particular dragon's claws are longer than this particular dragon's. Just because, you know, that's it. What mainstream doing with some games, especially basic game, was grossly underprepared, basically on the fly, a lot of stuff, then going into my second campaign as DM and doing a whole world of lore for my players to ignore it. Fine line, well explained, beautiful Evie, thank you. What percentage of the iceberg would you say gets discovered by the players before a new iceberg comes floating by, and how many sessions discover, say, 50% of what you spent? Mate, this is getting deep, man. It's getting deep. Now, let's look at that. What percentage of the iceberg would you say gets discovered by players before a new iceberg comes floating along? So if we're talking specifically from Dungeon Mastering and having a group of players that are going to explore your world. So taking into the most obvious things like the flavours of game that you play. Like, there's a difference between exploring a world and exploring a dungeon, as in you're a fan of. Do you know what I mean? So, like, thanks for answering all the challenging questions, by the way. I'm trying to gauge how much time, energy to invest. But hey, no, hey, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. I am here for you. Plus, I'm like the second greatest dungeon master in the world. The first being my reflection. A lie. So, I reckon, first iceberg, you're looking at 10%. Like, You set up your first iceberg is literally you going, I've got this entire world. This is like if your style. So you've got build out and building. There's probably better terminology out on the internet. You drop your players in a village. You want it like your iceberg is a mess. You haven't put it together. There's bits of it floating away. None of it. It's not a large chunk of ice with the tip out the water and the rest underwater. You're literally trying to bring all these chunks of ice together to make an iceberg. So you drop your players into a tavern, and you go cool. And as Kida said earlier on, a bit of a Wingmaster 5000. Orcs attack. Halflings attack. Barbarian halflings attack. They've got spears and they ride on the shoulders of orcs, or Master Blaster style, running into the village. And then, your party goes, oh shit, runs to the local, ranger. Where are these halfling thingies from? And you're like, to the northwest. So in between sessions, you quickly write in the northwest that there is a forest, and in that forest is a tribe of halflings and orcs that share, and they Master Blaster run around everywhere, and they kill anyone with a whistle because their orcs don't like the whistle. Boom, you're building out and you're building out. Or you do it the other way, which is similar to so I used to do that way, but then the more and more ideas I wanted to write them down, and the more I wrote them down, I ended up world building. I was only playing one game a week with my mates, but I ended up building all these nations and stuff that they'd heard of in a tavern, or I'd never even said to them, and I started building. So you do the opposite. So instead of starting small and like exploring the world with your players and then writing it in between sessions, you do it the other way around. You create this massive world. You create a nation with noble houses and tribes and clans and, creatures that are ancient and treasures that can be found. I mean, treasure's nothing until someone's had it and made it valuable. Like Excalibur's just a sword. It's just a piece of metal with a sharp edge. But because it's King Arthur's sword, given to them by the Lady of the Lake, pulled from the... Well, it wasn't given him by the Lady of the Lake. There's two swords that King Arthur had. One by the Lady of the Lake, which is not actually Excalibur, I'm told, because, real historical mythological facts. And then Excalibur that Arthur pulled from the... And then it just keeps going. But if you just turn around to someone and go, yeah, that bloke over there with beard, yeah, swinging Excalibur, you're like, what the fuck's Excalibur? Excuse my language. You go, oh, Excalibur, he pulled it from a stone. You don't pull a sword from a stone. You do if it's a magical stone. Well, who told him about it? Merlin. Who the hell's Merlin? Oh, an arch-druid of, bloody hell, there's this guy called Merlin running around. Well, what did he do with it? Since he's dead now. Oh, I threw it in a lake. Why? Well, the Lady of the Lake caught it. Who's the Lady of the Lake? And then you're off. I don't know if I explained anything, but... So I'll go with 10%. I'll go with 10%. Now, when your next iceberg comes along, that's when it gets a pain in the ass, because while they're finding about King Arthur, you got the Vikings over the road, who are all into Thor and Odin. You know what I mean? Ravens with one eyes, knowledge flying everywhere, great world trees, there's 9 realms. Well, hang on, they say there's 9 realms, but Arthur's lot don't. They're living in Camelot. And I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, I'm pretty sure, the old, Jesus and God sort of mentality is Arthur's lot. Holy Grail and all that, they went looking for it. Yet you go across the road, another iceberg just comes along. What's this iceberg called? This iceberg's called Viking Land. You know what I mean? Or Nordicsville, whatever you want to call it. And again, probably another 10%. A sword becomes a lot cooler when it's a sword that only the king can pull from an unbreakable stone, even if it's exactly the same. Hoorah! Exactly that. Exactly that, Calder. And that's coming from a necromancer. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so your second iceberg comes along. And you've got that full of absolute, stuff. Oh, I got an alert. What was that? Kaldar the Necromancer is now following. Thank you, Kaldar. Thank you very much. Bad players before the match comes along. How many sessions to discover, say, 50% of what you spent on time creating? How many sessions? So, I stream my games, and obviously it's very different to when you're around the table. But what I say to my lot, when my friends come on the channel, I say, right, we're going to stream. Because with my mighty empire of nerdiness. Ignore that we're on a stream, and just imagine that you sat around the table, and we play. Don't worry about anything. If you want to explore, how do I word it? It's down to your group. Ask your group what they want from your game. There's loads and loads of YouTube videos out there and Dungeon Masters giving you tips of, how to do X, Y, and Z. But the biggest thing I learned is, and took away from these same YouTube videos that people can watch, just go, ask your party what they want from your world. Like, if you ask me what I want from my game, I want combat. I want to make a barbarian. They've got a different haircut, because, I like haircuts on my characters. It's how I live with hair. I'm going to make a barbarian, and I'm going to sit in the corner while my friends deal with all the exploring and the puzzles, and I want to hear it. I want to be the Strider, the Aragon, sat on the side of the pub with hood down, just listening to everything around me. That's how I play D&D. But when I Dungeon Master D&D, I want you to ask me everything. I want you to absolutely roll every lore check on your skill check, because I want to tell you about my world. So when it comes to, you know, percentage of what... yeah, they're my favourite class. I'm kind of stereotyped, I do apologise. What am I saying? Oh yeah, so, your first iceberg... I don't even know if you're still here, Navigator, but I'm off now. You set me off. I reckon 10% of your iceberg usually gets discovered, and I think even that might be a lot. I don't know, especially like if you're writing a novel, that same iceberg theory, you know, might be less because you get one protagonist just, you know, runs up a wall and listening, letting the passion unfold. I just came on to write some monsters. You set me off, right? So, right. Before a new iceberg comes along, yeah, I reckon 10%. How many sessions to discover? 50. You got railroaded and you got open. It's that simple. All these people that come up with all these weird and wonderful, you know, academic ways of explaining it. You've either got players that... This is a bit... Woo! Epidemic sound, by the way, for those that stream. It's like a tenner a month and you get loads of royalty-free music you can play, so you don't get DMCA'd. It's entirely down to your players. I can always detect a weak DM by those who are not passionate about what they do or can't defend their perspectives. Much respect. I'm just quite loud and a bit of an attention seeker, so when someone asks me something, I'm a ooh, spotlight. So yeah, I have to sometimes give my players a chance to play the game and not just listen to me tell a story. But thank you. Yeah, so the 50% side of it. How many sessions to discover, say, 50% of what you've spent time on creating? That's down to you. Like, if you want them to discover more of it, allow them the opportunity to discover it. You know what I mean? So, like, if you want them, like for example, that creature I just created, Octavius, yeah, asleep in a mountain on top of it. You ain't seeing that walking past in a tavern. But hang on. Let's write a few musics. It's on one. Oh, modern blues. Let's have a bit of that. I do like blues. I love blues. But yeah. So if you want them to discover, like your example says, 50%, yeah, then you've got to give them the hooks to discover 50%. So that's kind of that's how you determine how much of your iceberg you want them to find out about, regardless of how much time you're spending on it. I mean, you always get the memes with the players that are like, who's in the tavern? Oh, there's a goblin with a hood, and you can see their nose and a big studded jewel in the nose, and they've got, an exclamation mark above their head saying, come here for quest. Oh, cool. Who else? Someone cleaning tables. We shall go speak to the one cleaning the table. It's like, what are you doing? So throw in as many hooks as you can, if you want them to discover loads of your iceberg. Or... be prepared for them not to discover any of your iceberg. It's like the amount of stuff, like I'm trying to create a world and I'm writing about it and put it all in there, and I tell you now, there'll be nothing more for me to sit there and listen to 300 of my mates, because I'm that popular, talking about, well, in Etoria we did this, in Ravenholm we did that, in Savai we did this, in the Vey Dynasty, and talking about the world I create. But sometimes, like I gave the option to my friends, to my party, like, where do you want to play? And they didn't know my world because they've never played in it. It's completely homebrew. So I gave them a description of a few nations. They picked one, and we've been playing in it for 55 sessions. So, and they're still in that same nation. So, over a year's worth of gaming in the same area, like, there's icebergs floating all around that they've not even bumped into, or that they've seen so far in the distance that they just don't care. They want to know more about this iceberg. So, you know what I mean? I haven't answered that, so my bad. But I truly think it's up to you. Like, I don't think you can I don't really think you can gauge it. It's kind of up to you. And if your players get hooked on an iceberg, mate, you're getting battered. They're going to come at you and they're going to dig through that ice and they're going to go beneath the water and they're going to want to know every little aspect of that icy little bastard. So, discovering 50% of it, you might end up adding to this iceberg. But always be prepared. So to me, with that, just always be prepared for it to be a bit of a... I've created so much, like thousands of words, hundreds of pages, and no one cares except for the tavern that's called, the receptacle. And then they're in. Or, like I say, on the other side of it, they go mental and just turn into, the seven dwarfs and start mining through everything. Yeah, that's it. I've answered your questions. Tune in next week. Well, now, let's write about floating fat squirrels. Need to come up with a better name. See, I added Origin, and it may or may not be on all of them, but I can't. If you're in my head, because I was writing, a book of creatures and stuff in Etoria, then they needed a bit more fluff. Like if you're just saying, "Oh, what animals are there? Oh, there's cats and dogs," you don't really need to write that down. So the creatures that you write about have got to be unique enough that people don't know about them in everyday life. Like even if you said dragon, a lot of creatures in, especially D&D or Pathfinder, or, just tabletop games in general, sci-fi or otherwise, you know what they are. Like, I know what a dragon is. I know what a chimera is. I know what a hydra is. It's just because that's your hobby. Lolaps, name of floating fat squirrel. Lolaps have high naps. Lolaps. That's just in there. Small. The medium. The biggest. Akin to a kitten. No. A puppy becoming a large dog. First glance, they look like a group of squirrels. But when one gets closer, they are a single squirrel. I cannot spell squirrel to save my life. I'll go with it for now, Keita. You're willing to sit here and throw ideas at me. I'll steal them. A single squirrel. Just so you know, Namkinator, I love waffling, so I do apologise for the passion over spill. It comes over here to say a single squirrel. Carrying a lot of Sultan X-Cause as a scientific formal name, maybe. It means jumping idiot in Latin, so it could be funny. I think that might be my name in Latin. See, that'd be pretty cool, actually. A lot of work. But can you imagine having like a group of like historians or like the science side of high fantasy, where they do have those like formal names and stuff, like Latin for every medical bloody procedure going, and flowers and such. But then that assumes that you had a language before all other languages, and you know, that sort of thing. That'd be cool. There's not something I could do. But maybe a list of scientific names. Draconicus Big Bastardus, you know what I mean? Formal name for gonna die if it breathes on you. I was going to put that the squirrel's thick, but just doesn't feel very, you know. Showing a lot of chunk. We put chunk, girth. We'll go with girth. Everyone loves the word girth. Nowhere near as nimble as their distant cousins. But strong and sturdy. Sturdy in short bursts. Have been known to fend off larger creatures who see them as slow-moving targets. So be dangerously surprised. That's right. I'm all here for the fat squirrel. After being so energetic, the Lolaps suffers exhaustion and must sleep for 2 days. Yeah. When they enter sleep, they float and would continue to float until so high. I know. I would continue, just leave it there. Continue to float. To prevent this from happening, they have a very long tail coated in a very strong, sticky substance that some alchemists desire, as it is very potent. The Lolaps picks a spot. Usually low hanging branches, or sometimes the ground, as it's easier to stick. So, using the tail and ensure a stationary floating slumber. It's a bit Christmassy, is this song? Carrying some heft, timber, girth, girthy squirrel. I mean, you see, how can I not write girth? Fair folk and other smaller, more nimble creatures have been known to tame lowlaps through offers of food and luxury, often using them as mounts. Poachers or other rivals of these riders have been sure to develop large weighted nets used to force a squirrel to the ground where they will promptly fall asleep. Yep, I am stealing that. Right. Where's fair folk? Boom. Look at that. Yeah. This shit's easy. Floating Furby squirrels. Origin. Yeah. Come back to Origins. Let's do another one. Let's do the armoured fish. I like the armoured fish one. Salmonius. Oh. Salmonius. I'll go with that for now. You got a lazy god or something, have the lowlaps as it's her bed. I see. That'll be pretty bad. That's just this enormous chuffing lowlaps. Right, so what do we say? I reckon we can use them as mounts then, Keida, or what? Fish. Etoria. Fishing is a big bar. Come on, small islands to resources such as tiny mining opportunities or rare flora. There you go. Look at that. Getting to these islands can be a bit dangerous, especially. Oh, it's not to use this. Especially those creatures. Not to the sea. No, I can't spell sea. Hunting grounds. This is where. There. So I'm on this one. Huge. Large. Large. Easily the size of a broad horse. Etorians use them as mounts in the water. As a single rider or several pulling the aquatic wagons, so a raft. Yes. Swim coast service to provide nursery for the young. That's good, actually. Swim close to the surface to provide a nursery for the young. Etorians aid in any way they can to ensure their survival. Survival. Anyway, they can to ensure their survival. Despite no verbal communication, the Somnolus are able to communicate with a low level of empathy. Empathy. For bad guys, hang on, inhabitants of the island usually transport themselves. Yeah, that's cool. For bad guys, do you roll hit points, average amount, or base off number of hits from characters, or a combination? Well, that you set me off again. So, alright, predators don't like shadows. Means big. Means I don't want to fight it. So I stay on the surface, Kida, to keep the sharks away. When Greenpeace let me in the water. I don't roll hit points for buddies. I don't base it off number of hits from the characters. So there's no combination. So, four ways I do hit points. One, and this is something from D&D 4th edition, the minions, they got one hit point. They got their normal stats, so you go to Monster Man, you pull up Goblin, Dragon, Elven, Wizard, whatever. They got one hit point, but all the rest of the stats stay the same. So if they're attacking you, full stat, of a Rhino, yeah? But if you're hitting them, it's one hit. Reason that being, you got a big bad, Lich of the West, runs in, sends in thousands of zombies. Your party get to plough through those zombies full on Sauron style. Every hit they land, bang, just smashing goblins left, right, and centre. You can also do the overspill of damage. So if they roll 10 points of damage, 10 of the goblins die because they've only got 1 hit point, and they get that big "I am Conan" wading through my enemies sort of flavour. So that's one way. Second way, like a tally mark. So I will say, if this creature is hit 5 times, it dies. Don't matter what damage your players do. And obviously you can't let your player, try not to let your players know this, because then if they roll 300 points of damage, they think it's massively cool. But if you're just ticking a tally, it's very specific. Again, it falls into that. If you want them to wade through several creatures quickly, and you want the pace of the scenario in front of them. The example I use at my party years and years ago, they attacked a bandit camp, because, why wouldn't you? They were attacking a bandit camp, and loads of bandits rushed them, and I gave them all 2 strikes. So my players are just rolling, and as they're hitting, it's just speed. It's just a pace maker. If you want a fast scene, 1 hit point's fine, but it means the creatures have still, they've got stats, and you need to tell them, and they hit one, then they hit another. 1 or 2 strikes, so I suppose it's hit points, but you know what I mean. It just gives that speed. It's just 2 ways of doing it there. I do the strike thing. What did I say? 4. The third is go off the max damage that all your party can do in 1 round. So if all your party in 1 round can do 100 points of damage, if they pretty much hit max, not average or anything like that, max, then double it. Because then you've got, if you go on average, 4 rounds. Again, it's not a fine art. And the last one is make it up. Don't write any hit points for your monsters. So there are certain times where it's super cool if you come up with this epic like monster, you give it, these are way too many hit points, and your players go nat 20, nat 20, nat 20 fireball, and just obliterate it. And to them, they're going to go home, and that's going to be comedy between you and your party. They're going to rip the piss. Like, next creature you come across, I put a Hydra in front of my lot ages, like last year sometime. They killed it round 1, bang. They just hit every perfect dice roll. Just obliterate this in 1 or 2 rounds, sorry. And they ripped me every encounter they had after this. They were like, should we remember the Hydra we once killed? I'm like, just let it go. Let it go, guys. So I put another Hydra in front of them. Guess what they did? Obliterated it. So they stopped fighting Hydras. So what I say about make it up is, sometimes it's alright, it's cool, it's funny, like you get that thingy. But if you've got like a very, what's the word, dramatic, the fight in the end boss, judging the hit points of a fight you want to last. Let's say you want a couple of monologue bits in from your baddie, do you know what I mean? To be like, haha, it was me all along. You don't want them killed before they get to say that. Or if you want to reveal, I am. Can you imagine if Luke nailed Vader in that first swing of his saber, never found out he were his father? There you go. That's Empire Strikes Back. Just binned. So just have a ballpark. So how do I do it? Just have a ballpark. Like if it's fighting bandits and stuff, give them hit points. And it's either going to be a tough fight or your players are going to roll loads of nat 20s. But if they roll loads of nat 1s, a bandit having 10 hit points don't matter, because if they're never getting it. But when you're doing your big bads, I could probably construct this explanation way better. But big bads have a ballpark. 1,000 hit points on a massive gargantuan dragon. I don't think, for 1,000 hit points. But if you're fighting a gargantuan ancient dragon, your players are probably quite powerful anyway in whatever system you're playing. So 1,000 hit points becomes a lot less. You're ploughing through it, and it does fall into a very long fight. You obviously have to keep an eye on the balance, because if you give them so many hit points that it's taking them so long to chunk through, but your dragon breathes on them and halves their hit points, you know what I mean? It's a bit much. But yeah, so I tend to, big bads, I'll have a ballpark area, and if there's a cool moment, I wouldn't say, what's the word? I wouldn't say fluff it, but have a ballpark area. So like, go into the fight, maybe let a round or 2 happen, just to see, how consistent your players are in like what they're doing, how much damage they're really throwing out there, especially when you come across your first bad. Because a lot of players will save their big moves for what they think's an important fight. They don't save their big moves and dump them on, halfling barbarians riding orcs. But if you put, oh, this is the NPC that you've been fighting all along, and whips off the Scooby-Doo mask, then they'll dump all their like smites and power word kills and everything into it. So you might find that where you thought it was a really powerful creature because they haven't really dumped their big skills into it, turns out it was nothing. So maybe give it a round or two when you get to that big fight, just to say, all right, they know this fight's really important, so they're bringing out the big guns, and then go, right, cool, you got 500 hit points, and go from there. So if you're very exact and you're a very mechanical DM and a very mechanical party, then do the hit points and stuff like this. You know what I mean? Give them actual hits, and work out an average. But if your party or yourself want to have that soap opera sort of moments in your big fights, I'd give it a round or two just to see how they fare and how they're planning to approach this. Again, it's the whole saving up their big guns for the big fight. If they're coming in guns blazing, you'll see it in the first round or two. Your player's mentality of going, this is it, we want to end this encounter, we want to come out of this like unscathed, so put as much into it as you can. Give it a round or two and then judge it. I say judge it as a cop out, but you'll tend to get it. I mean, back in day, obviously you said you come out of retirement, so when I first started playing many moons ago, it was whatever hit points were in the monster manual of whatever system I was playing. So sometimes the players just ploughed through them because they got a decent roll. Sometimes it were a bit longer, And then I found that it was just getting it felt easy sometimes. Because I suppose the monster manual for a lot of systems is kind of average stats for a goblin, a dragon, a human bandit, stuff like that. I don't know if that answered you again. I do, you set me off. It's your own fault. Hit points is good for non-big bads. If it ain't your end boss, give them hit points. There you go, just give them hit points. If your players plough through them, great. If it turns into a stonky fight, the next time they fight those particular clan of bandits, they might think you've started them because the last fight they had with them were really hard. Players forget, and I do it when I'm a player, I forget all the DM stuff. If I fight bandit number 1 and it's a really hard fight, when I fight it again down the road, I automatically think it's going to be a hard fight. I forget the fact that I rolled nat ones 5 times in a row, and it felt difficult. But it's now in my head that this particular bandit, or flavour of bandit, are nails, because the DM's made a nails bandit. It's not, it's just perception. Oh, brief. Right, give me 2 seconds. I'm just off for a bio break. I'll be 2 seconds. Yeah, just tripping over the baby's toys. Dun, 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 dun.
You put down that you're on a break.
Not necessarily a break. Just needed it. They could probably don't die, woman. I need you. In case you didn't notice, I'm back. What you got waffling on about? I typically average out recommended hit points. 4.5 per hit dice, round down in favour of players. Typically roll on somebody's sign hit points for mini boss. Okay. The origins of the logo. Speculated by what few scholars bothered to study them, and there's an accident so close. Short term. Oh, hopefully it's helpful, Mebonics. I'm really good at waffling, so if you could pick out from that some stuff you could use, then I'm happy. The relaxed attitude compared to unpredictable energies of the Feywild, the lack of regard for most things material, transforming literal ability to float on air. This is why the tale of the lamps. Oh yes. That's getting put on the. This is all going in. Oh. Do you know when Arcane, who I write with, when he reads this, he's going to be like, this is good shit, you know, Heavy, what you been doing? I'm like, stealing off Jack. And it dare, like, there are thousands of nerds and geeks in the world that are far more creative in certain areas that I'm not, and me, them, I hope. Why would I not? Like, if I could have everyone in the world on one public Google Doc, it'd be amazing. Can you imagine the stuff we'd get done? No one would ever get to play because they'd be too busy writing it, but... So my wife has let me down. It's no ice. No ice in my drink. Get a divorce. Okay, that. Boom! If you have any, you know, Merbonics, you obviously one of my number one fans. If you ever need any, you know, feel free to ask. I will waffle at you, and then you just pick out what you think is okay to use, or ignore me and do it better. Please. So for the it's been a while since I wrote some Monster Law, so I'm happy I can be of service. It's very appreciated, Carla. Very, very appreciated. Memories. Yeah, just leave that. Yes. Yeah, physically. Physically, scales. Made of. The legends have the ability of legends. We'll go with stories. Go with stories. There's Armored Fisher. Salmonis! If you could spell stories, jeez. It's not entirely from the tree. More akin to more like, I don't know how to word that. Someone better at words will do it. Reality of it is that the scales have had in them, giving them a strong armored shell. Whilst allowing them, is it malleable? Malleable? What's the word? You know, the soft, like flexy. Tiny eyeball with 8 thin legs, then can act as spies. Oh, you mean as a suggestion as just running round? Little tiny eyeballs with 8 legs, Babonix. You've got issues. You've got issues. It's going on the list. Yeah. Some people. Eyeball. Running around. On 8 legs. Issues, I tell you. Issues. What's the word? Malleable? 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 I don't even know. Allowing them to be flexible? What's the word? A fish flexible? But still allowing movement. A squid that's invisible in water. I think we had a semi-invisible goat earlier that I changed to ethereal. We'll caveat with this, some may get you, some may not. Squid creature that is invisible in the water. Very much visible when on dry land attacking your face. moment. Predators, avoid them by a couple of reasons. They are very large. Trying to bite through their scales is sometimes damaging to the predator. And because of hunt, if they decide to swim directly at a target and hit said target, will be in a world of pain. This is all obviously note form as best I can, and then when we go back through it, people far better at the you know, the typey stuff will make it sound lovely. I mean, you'll see when Arcane goes through it. Why have you written this really good and that like you? Well, the really good stuff is copy paste. What's your favourite homebrew rule by a different DM you played under made? What's your favourite homebrew rule a different DM you played? Right. Potions. So, I think in D&D 5th Ed, I think an action to drink a potion. I think that's the rules as written. What he introduced, and I've now taken immediately, there's a couple. There's a couple. So, potions. If you drink a potion out of combat, so just in the street, in your tavern, inn room or whatever, you get the full effects of the potion, no rolls needed. In combat, excuse me, drinking fizzy pop. In combat, if you use an action to drink the potion, you get full effects. If you use a bonus action to drink the potion, you have to roll for it. Same if you're applying it to a downed friend. If they're unconscious on the floor and you use your action to give them the potion, they get all of its, or whatever its max is. If you give use a bonus action to give your downed friend the potion, you have to roll for it. And I love that rule. It's not even remotely game-breaking, overpowered, anything like that. Healing potions are not exactly a game changer anyway. They just give you an extra turn, basically. Or, just save you from death. It's not like you drink a potion and you've got 300 hit points back. So, in 5th Ed, I'm talking about. So, yeah, probably the potion one. Full effects of it out of combat and using an action. Or you roll for it if you use your bonus action because you're doing it quickly. Another one is a friend of mine. She homebrewed that if you're fighting creatures bigger than you, so category wise, so like small, medium, etc., large, huge, gargantuan. If you're stood in melee with it when it dies, and you're fighting an ancient dragon, that ancient dragon is going to fall to its, it's going to slump to the ground dead, and you are stood like within sword striking distance of it. So she does it where you got to do a dex roll. Like it's very so like 10 for a large creature, 12 for a huge creature. That sort of DC check. Nothing massive. To get out of the way, if you fail it, you just take some bludgeoning damage as like the limp wing hits you, or one of its horns catches you as you're trying to get out of the way. It's just that little bit of cheeky. Again, not game breaking, not ridiculous. I just think it's a nice bit of flavour. I forget it all the time, but I kind of like it. It's like the whole you see the hero or one of the heroes run in and stab a minotaur, and then dust goes up, and then the rest of the party run over and go, "Oh, where is Albert, the Slayer?" And you just say that, I'm under here! And they move the Minotaur off and you see Albert with crushed armour and be like, I killed the Minotaur. You know what I mean? Rough life being a gnome halfling though. Yep. Yeah, the potions rule I was super I mean, and I only found out it's the first time I've played with him in 5th ed. Been my mate for years, but we've never, like, just one of them things we never got to play. But yeah, a couple of weeks, about a month ago, and I've been playing for years. About a month ago, he when he said it, I was like, yep, stealing that. Yeah, and the size rule. In fact, give me a second. So I've got. Where the frig is this? So I've got 4 homebrew rules. All 4 of them I took off DMs, and I use them in my games. Healing potions, massive monsters, crits. It's not really a homebrew rule. Well, it is. It's personal preference. One of the crit things, we tried it. A friend of mine's about to introduce it, or has just introduced it into their game. Is when you roll a crit, and you're like, cool. My short sword's a D6 damage, so I'm gonna roll a D6 and double it to get my damage, and you roll a 1. So you've just critted, and you only got 2 points of damage. It's a bit lackluster. I get that it's still better than if you'd have only got 1 hit point, but it's still a bit lackluster. So what we tried it, and then we brought it back out, because as you get more powerful, it gets proper, like, well, you'll see if you do this. You say your damage roll for your sword is a D6. Instead of rolling a D6 and doubling it, you instantly get 6. So whatever your damage dice is, D12 for a great axe, D6 for a short sword, you get a 6 or a 12 respectively, and then you roll. So you'd get 6 and then roll a D6. So if you crit, you're always going to get 1 max damage dice and then whatever you roll. So minimum damage you do on a short sword is 7 on a crit, and then obviously whatever you're adding to it. Which again is pretty cool, but when you get like further up and you crit with a firebolt, you know, which is a D10, and you get like 3 firebolts, 3D10 a firebolt at later levels, and you're doing a minimum of 30 before you've even rolled those 3. I mean, if you're lucky enough, you're going to do 60 points of damage in 1 hit, which, again, going into the hit points thing earlier, it gets a bit thingy. But it can be done, and obviously if it's coming back at the players, fair enough. What I do, and this is purely because I want to roll as many dice as I possibly can, you double the amount of dice you roll. Just because I like rolling dice. Like, I'd rather roll 6 dice instead of 3 and double it. There you go. And my 4th rule is insta-death. So I think rules as written in 5th ed. What's the same? I'll answer that in a sec. Oh yeah, so in 5th ed, I think rules as written. Again, this homebrew rule is just for 5th ed. I don't play enough other systems to homebrew. You can insta-death someone if you hit them for their max hit points and whatever they've got remaining, if that makes sense. So if your max hit points is 10 and you're on 1 hit point and I hit you for 11, you insta-die. I think that's how it's written. But what we homebrewed in, and this is me again, I just want players to last longer in the fight, and if this happens then you deserve to die, is you must be hit for double your max hit points to die instantly. So if your max hit points is 10 and you get hit for 20, then you, no matter how many you've taken in the fight so far, if you're hit for double your max hit points, insta-death. Which, as a DM, if you're running your monsters or your encounters correctly, that should rarely happen. And even then, you'd need to be quite high level to do enough damage to one-shot someone as a monster. But if you're that high level as a monster, you're fighting higher level party members, so it's incredibly rare. And if you're getting up to them points of damage, you've got wizards doing power word kill. So I just have it in there as a buffer to say you've got to go above and beyond to smack this thing in 1 hit. I do double their max hit points. Yeah, there you go, kid. It's good. They're the 4 I run with, to be fair. The crit one where you roll double the dice is just because I like rolling lots of dice. The other 3 I took off other people. But the potion one's probably my favourite. Rough life being enough. So you give the option of double damage versus rolling twice and adding. I don't give the option. No, I tell a lie. We decide before we start playing. So I do give them the option. But whatever we decide at the beginning, that's how we'll play it, unless for some reason, we're in 55 sessions, we enjoy rolling lots of dice. So, yes, still give them I give them the option before the game starts, and that's how we play it, rather than, it's up to you every time you get a crit. I like that. I've also offered similar. The rolling twice and adding statistically improves the average damage, but also reduces. Yeah. Most of my players, albeit like the concept of not rolling a 1, like to gamble for that max double. Yeah. Yeah, fair. That is fair. Look at all this. Look at this. I'm kidding. Look at this. Look at all this. See all these in here? How many pages are we on? We're on 33 pages. This is the iceberg, yeah? I'm assuming you're looking now. There's a few bits just for stuff, yeah? Oh, look, an introduction. These are my group of mates that we play with, and I get them to write. Everything on here, bar the stuff I've nicked off chat, I've written. And that's before these 3 start adding their stuff to it. So I'm 30 pages in, and then them 3 are going to add that. So if they had I'm 33 pages in. If they had 33 pages, woo, what's that? 126, 132. I don't know. Yeah, 132. Overview. There you go. Look, this is the iceberg, mate. This is all beneath the water. But it all leads to stuff. Look at that. What's this? Page 3. Page 3, yeah? Overview, Creation Colossus. So I write the creation myth of the world. We call it Colossus. Yeah, it's massive. My name's Heavy, so, well, not my name, you know what I mean. So creating a world and calling it Colossus kind of makes sense. And we then came up with a cheesy line of, it's called Colossus because it's big enough for everyone. Eh? Get that on a t-shirt. Blah, blah, blah. But this little intro here on page 3 is written by Julio Saragon, first Hain of the Agin, or Jin. I haven't even written about them yet. So, immediately, page 3, and the first page is how do you do, I've got to come up with that. This calendar time, seasons, all it is, it's every nation in the world, reality or mythological, all have festivals and stuff to do with the moon, to do with the sun, to do with coming of winter, summer, or, we just named it differently, spun it a bit. Technology, again, blah blah blah. But can you see this iceberg? Look at it, man. Look at it. What's all this about? Look at this history, bloody timelines, and this is just me writing, fluff, waffle. Exactly how I've answered your questions. Absolute waffle. That's before it gets spread out and detailed and written and structured ways. There you go, timelines all the way down here. I mean, I'm very proud of this. It took me a while, but yeah, the lost years, all this stuff's gone. There we go. Elysia sat up on the mountain called Erroneous. There we go. We've got to start writing about bloody meeting place of the gods. There you go. That's a comment for myself. Then you got all the archfey. Oh look, Etoria, because we're at war with Etoria. So now I've got to start writing stuff about Etoria. That's an old iceberg on its own. Because I'm writing Etoria, you only get to experience what Etoria know about Etoria. Yorkshire. Little Jack Russells. But then if I wanted to do another source book about Etoria, you'd only get a small bit about Etoria because it's their perception. You're writing about that place. Oh look, Surut in the south. More icebergs. They're everywhere. Everywhere. And there's all these celestials. I haven't got into these. Look at this. Holy boy. I haven't even read that bit. And then there, I created a adventuring party, like a Herculean mythological adventuring party. I literally ripped the Hercules 12 labours and put them into a D&D adventuring party / campaign that happened many moons ago. So like Nemean is a silver dragon. Obviously the Nemean lion in Hercules. Bahamut is my Hercules, who in most lore is a silver dragon. So Bahamut kills this silver dragon and wears the silver dragon pelt instead of a lion's pelt, but the dragon was called Nemean, and that's the link, you see? Yeah! Woo! Famous one day, kids. Famous. And then I've mixed in all the other stuff, like the Syrian Hind and stuff like that is the name of the ship. Whatever. When it's all done and dusted and we're selling it for $4,000 a pop, nobody will buy it. So I'll release it for free a year later. But again, this is more iceberg stuff. All the people. See, this stuff I'm writing because it's stuff I want. Now, if someone bumps into it, you guaranteed someone's going to go, what the hell is a dawnborn? What the hell is a duskborn? Why have they got butterflies on them? Why have they got moths on them? And you're like, well, because of this. And then you need to know that then. Because what if, you finish that campaign and then you get another few mates and they come along and they go, oh yeah, why have they got butterflies on them? You need to write all down. Again, more iceberg stuff. Okay, man. Madness. It just doesn't stop. I'm a big fan of these, the Spiratus. Spartan gnomes. 2 of them on Dire. They ride. Where are they? Where are they? They ride. Oh no, that's not them. It's the Ramhorn. There we go. So the Spiratus are Spartan gnomes, and there's 2 of them, and they ride dire creatures. They get given a dire creature, like wolves and stuff like that. And they bring them up and they all train as a trio. One of them wields 2 short swords, one of them wields 2 buckler shields, and they sort of work together, and then you've got the dire creature running around biting people. And that's like 1 unit of Spiratus. I get that, you running around with 2 shields is less offensive in a fight, but you get punched in the face with a decent arm and a buckler, it's good fucking hurt. But, so I just give them that concept of, it's really hard to kill the one stabbing you if his mate's constantly in the way, or their mate, sorry, is constantly in the way with shields, slamming them on your toes. But the Ramhorn, I'm off now, you've lost me. Where's the Ramhorn? Again, needs writing out, but they're like an elite force, the Order of the Ramhorn, an elite paladinic order type thing, special forces. Smite! SAS, smite and smite. When the Emperor says, right, we need some shit doing, or we need a very particular, Liam Neeson sort of task doing, they'll send in the Order of the Ramhorn, and they ride wyverns that are weaned on Tarask blood. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Them motherfuckers are going to be nails. Excuse my language. And again, more and more iceberg. It's all iceberg. Operation Iceberg is a go-go. And then we're down to a base tree. And I'll still be popping backwards and forwards. Madness. Absolute madness. 132. I don't know what that means, Keeda. I don't know why the 132 is there. 33 times 4. Yeah, that's what I said, 132, isn't it? I got it wrong the first time, and then I changed it to 132. Ah, yeah, 33 pages each. Yeah. Yeah, I think I said 122 or 12 at first, and then changed it to 130. Anyway, thank you. Just out of curiosity, Namkinator, why have I not seen your name pop up on the follows? Getting all this, beautiful dungeon mastering advice. I expect and push that follow. One day I could be a millionaire, and you could be part of that. I will buy you a McDonald's. There we go. Thank you for the on. Navigator. So this get famous is easy. All iceberg. That's all we are. We are an iceberg. So you said you're coming out of retirement. How long's it been? Is it like you used to play like Pathfinder 1 or, you know, give me a little bit about yourself, Namkinator. Just this. Oh man, I'm doing this because of the music. I don't even know if you can hear it. Although it sounds like Sex Bomb. What the frig is this? Bit of Tom Jones. It's not Sex Bomb. Fair. So you literally recently back and then smashing out D&D 5th Ed, or are you doing something else? Went full into what? Yeah. See ya. War crack. It had me for a couple of years. World of Warcraft, yeah. I'm not sure there's many nerds and geeks that have not tasted the amber nectar that is Azeroth. It's the Final Fantasy 14. I can't get into it. I cannot get into it. It annoys me if I've got to wait for servers and stuff like this. Plus 3 kids. Like even when I do get into it, I do like 2 quests, and then our young'uns jumping on my face, kicking me in, shouting at me to play stupid games. How dare they stop me playing stupid games to play their stupid games? It's a big time. Yeah. Oh well, all MMOs are, aren't they? You could say that about D&D. Like, that's all I do is I write D&D, play D&D. You're better off with Apex. Short and quick, 10-minute games, bang them out. Have you so did you get to play any Pathfinder then? Namkinator. I don't even know if I'm saying your name right. Three and a half is I spent most of my pre-5th Ed time in 3.5. That's where I got most of my mates into it. Touch Pathfinder 1. It's alright. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It was a really nice clean up of 3.5. How do I change that? Near the end we really played what I described as D&D 2.5 that combined 2nd, 3rd and Pathfinder. Jesus. That's a hell of a combination. Every version of D&D isn't really playtest, it's just pushing product. The best thing to do is to look at the additions. Yeah. 5th Ed's easy. It's real easy. Like a lot of the people I play with were new to D&D, just tabletop in general. So like 5th Ed's just super fluid. Well, it feels it at least. But as Keita just said, the Pathfinder, I got Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I love it. It's such a cool system. It's a really cool system. It's very much like, so I say this to everyone. D&D 5th Ed to me is drafts or checkers from wherever you are in the world. And Pathfinder 2nd Edition is chess. I love both. Both have, like you say, it's taking those best aspects from what you like in your games. Yeah, so I can't remember what group you are, Keela, but I spoke to the other 2 groups, so they're good to go in a week or 2. I shall bully your group 3. I'll bully group 3 in the morning, and then we'll get that sorted. But it's only the starter pack either. Don't worry about it. It's only like a three sessions, 4 at a push. So we can always do something else. I'll be looking to do one of the proper adventure modules for Pathfinder, so I'll shortlist you for that. Vamps. What, Vampire the Masquerade? Is that what you're asking about? Yeah. So it's obviously very popular. I want in. Vampire the Masquerade is very popular, especially among, well, most of my mates and obviously more. But I've never run it, and it is a very different style to what I'm used to. Because obviously, like D&D and Pathfinder, like that, fireballs and dragons, But Vampire, it's super. Well, you've got the stats that if you want to send a lot of vampires on a slaying mission, wiping out supernatural creatures, you probably could. But it's very like noble housey, and there's an element of what's the word? It's like it feels like more like a political combat than a smash. Would have loved to have been part of it, but my Fridays are never set in stone. Yeah, sorry, Maybon. It's just it's time. It's time for everyone, isn't it? Just getting them where we can and stuff. It's only the little starter sessions to start with, and then we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What do you think would be a benefit a player could gain from consuming an elemental? Extra AC, fire damage, the ability to breathe underwater, the ability to fly, float, levitate, a swim speed, possible like shape stone. If you're thinking more like one-shot powers in a combat, just go Earth and Armor. Just go full Avatar, airbenders and earthbenders and stuff. Like earthbenders bringing up a wall of earth in front of them, or encasing themselves in armor so they get damage resistance. Or just get one of the druid spells, or you can now cast Bark Skin, Stone Skin, Burning Hands. You can maybe consume fire. So if your fire elemental is stuff, and someone drops a fireball on you, you get fire resistance because you consume half of it. Your soul just absorbs it. Stuff like that. Watch Avatar. Like, I always throw elemental stuff in and around my games. And, like, Avatar is perfect. My favourite character... I've forgotten her name, and I watch it. What's the little blind girl in Avatar? The Earthbender. What's her name? You'll know it, Kida. What's her name? Or my Bonix, you might know it. So, yeah, favourite character. Toph. She's my favourite by far. And not because of persona, although I like the fact that she's quite spunky. I just love the concept of her being blind. The James Cameron movie or the Night Shyamalan movie? M. Night Shyamalan. I meant the anime. With so a bit. Yeah, I know what you mean. Not the blue people. The Last Airbender, Maybonix. With Aang. You heathen. The boulder feels conflicted about hitting a small blind girl. Yeah, the boulder's pretty funny. But I like Toph's concept of she's blind, but obviously the whole barefooted like just being in connection with the earth and stuff. That's such a cool little thing. But yeah, watch the last Avatar, the Last Airbender. Yeah, tough. Yeah, yeah. Kida were all over it. Just trying to workshop some homebrew. Homebrew's great. I love it. I prefer it to running modules. I think the biggest advantage is you know it. And if you don't know it, you can make it up because it's homebrew. Whereas if you're playing a module, there is no movie on Bar Sing Se. Have you seen the original concept art where Toff is a big... I have not. I have not, Maybonix. I think that would have been... Well, they might have done it well, but I think Toff, the small blind girl, is a proper cool concept. Why is... I don't understand the different colours of text. Yeah, so Kaldar and Namkinator are purple, you're blue, Maybonix is red. I don't know if it's like followers and subs and... But it doesn't seem to be any other colours. Bardic were blue. Kick's orange. Yeah. It's not in Twitch chat, it's on the Streamlabs. Oh, Carlo, join the Discord. I didn't even notice. I didn't even get notified. Ah, right, yeah. Yeah, I think they did a better. I think it was better. Just preferences ported over from Twitch. Oh, okay. Or maybe because I'm a sub. Maybe. I mean, I just know. I don't need to find out. Yeah, the concept art's pretty cool. Welcome to the Discord, Calder. Namkinator, get the Discord. Let's test it. Why are you changing it? Siblings clothes is weird. Yeah. The blue makes more sense, especially seeing as they're from, you know, the water tribes in the South Pole. Like, you know, the blue just fits. I think the pinky reds just, you know, they've got to be more fire, aren't they? The closer you are to red. Well, they're saying that Ang's orange. Green for the earth. Yeah, they're far better. Kida has just subscribed. You absolute legend. And I'll need you to type something. Thank you very much, Kida. All this to test. Nope, you're still blue. Although it does now have a little subscriber symbol next to your name. You're blue. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It might do it as a thing so the streamer can actually see. You know, what's the word? Separate. Like if lots of people are talking. Because Calder and Namkinator are actually... Calder's deep purple, Namkinator's more violet purple. Anyway. Who cares? Let's let it go. Let's let it go. Hello, Shadowmura. Abadi, abadia. Dabadi, dabada. I'm blue, dabadi, dabada. Right, I get you. My bad, my bad. It took me a second, alright? It took me a second. Oh, them emojis are cool. How are you, Shadowmura? We need some heavyweight RPG emotes. We do, Kida. I've got some gravy ones that I need to port over. Calder's actually... You can change the colour in chat identity, I believe. Alright, because I was say you just popped up like a goldy yellow. Yeah, Kida, we've got some emotes being made. There's a bit of a revamp going on, obviously, lockdown and stuff, and then, you know, the loss of the account of 2021, because... Amazing, but we don't need to speak of that. Yeah, so we're getting emotes done. We're getting, you know, the buttons underneath the stream where they're just like wooden panels that says like Instagram and Twitter on them and stuff. We're getting some. A friend of mine's doing some little more artistic ones that just kind of fit the nerdy feel. You know what I mean? So that'd be cool. And then I'm gonna get some emojis done, and I'll get them uploaded. I need to change the that Friday. Yeah, Friday's doing them. She's done loads of artwork for... These are cool. Are these your emojis? Where do you get these from? That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, the alerts. It used to say it's gravy time every time you like followed or subscribed or whatever, but... I've not set up this new channel with all that good stuff yet, and I got a new computer, so I got to port everything over. The little rainbow one's cool. Also, do you keep your emotes from different channels? If you get emotes, you can carry it. Oh, that's pretty cool. I suppose it's like Discord, isn't it? You get to select, you know. That's pretty cool. We've just got an achievement. Stream for 12 unique days in the last 30 days. Jesus. Path to partner. Oh. Average of 75 viewers. Jesus, over a month. Yeah, that might take a little while. The malted one. Here we go. World building stream. Hey up, malted one. You say that. We've been coming up with a bit of a pastry. For Etoria. We come up with some ideas. There's our lovely ideas. And then we started writing a couple. I think we got 3 in, did we? Octavius, the mountain sleeper. Roll-ups, floating fat squirrels. Salmonos, armoured fish. As you can see on the left, there is quite a lot of world building. This won't all today, obviously. But welcome to this heavyweight gaming. If you haven't noticed, my name's Heavy. Because I'm very large. The malted one is now following. Thank you very much. I'm always looking for world law building streams. I find them interesting and inspiring. Good. They are super interesting and inspiring. Also, I will steal chat's ideas all the time. So you can use your emotes in someone else's chat. That's pretty cool. Origin, we'll leave that. What did I just do? Oh. I'll move on to the next one for that. What's next on our little list of ideas? Shall we go, Wolf? Go with. I like this one. Let's do the Drake. No. Completely blind. A huge butt like he is. Short, powerful legs. Obviously we'll fluff it out. Sprint speeds. Upwards of death on legs. Allow them to sprint after their prey. But they finally lock on. Etorian farmers keep them a lot of the time to hunt rodents and other smaller creatures that are a nuisance. Nuisance? No idea how to spell nuisance. No. I've never written a bestiary before, so we're also just randomly talking about world building and lore and stuff like that, so feel free to ask whatever you wish. Branching out, oh, there we go. It's branching out content, doing some Insta, doing some TikTok, Twitter, the works. I'm always fine. In fairness, most of tabletop is plagiarism. Nice, very true, very true. Evening, Gandian. Origins could originate along the lines of they are baby islands in the making. Okay, not plagiarised, inspired by. Plagiarised, remix, inspired by, it's all the same thing. Depends on if you're being malicious about it, in my opinion. This. Okay. Nuisance. Have I done that? Yeah, I've done that. I think I spell checked it, to be fair. Yeah, that is very true. But I think I said it before on a previous stream. Like, I love stories. I love the myth of, you know, like Hercules, Achilles. I mean, they're very obvious ones to go to, but I love those stories. So when I'm creating my own world, I can't not have, you know, that in. One of my favourite things I've done in this world so far is plagiarise, or inspired by the Herculean story and the 12 labours. So far this week, we're at 10 pages on Etoria, we're at 11 pages on Viconia, and how many have we written tonight? We've written 3 pages tonight. My brain hurts. In the current world building I'm doing, I'm making sure to reference link to all the other documents I'm taking ideas from. Yeah, I have a like a dump doc for that sort of stuff. Exactly that. Or I'll make a little comment. I'll just highlight a word and comment it and be like, inspired by Olympus, or Vishnu, or Ra and Horus story, that sort of stuff. The World Tree. So I like the 9, like Nordic, the 9 realms obviously sit in the tree. So I have the first seeds, which are 9 trees, and they're my world tree equivalent of, and I've kind of fluffed it around so people won't think about the wrong reference. Yeah. That's actually fair. I'm quite a big like if I'm playing and I'm in a DM's world and they're trying to describe it to me, sometimes if I've created it, I can see it. But if you're explaining to me something that you've created, I'll say, is it like, X? And if you go yes, that's the only time I then reference that thing. And then I'm all in your world then, because I've just got a base. But yeah, it's no worse than going, they're wearing helmets with metal on them. You mean like the Greeks? No. Like ye olde England. Ah, right, yeah. That's a shocking example, but I've said it now. Oh. Like the purveyor character I have has a dream to create the world's first travelling tavern. Most think 7 deadly sins. If I don't mention the inspiration was actually Hal's movie cat. Oh, okay. One thing I've done for previous worlds I've made is actually list off a bunch of other media, films, books, etc. They've got the fit. Yeah, again, and I'm all for that. Me and my friend used to clash a bit because he was very strict on. He didn't want any of that. He wanted his descriptions, his flow to set that in your. He really disliked people going, "Oh, you mean like this?" But there's a bit OCD with it. It's like you have to have a bit of flex because, like you've said, like we ain't, it's 2021. People have been telling stories about the same thing since the before times. You know what I mean? Cave folk painted pictures on the wall. You know what I mean? If they were around today, they'd probably sue everyone for telling their stories. But yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, his stuff were cool, and I'll never forget it. It's more sci-fi, like the way emotions layer into different like planes of the world, and then they manifest physically. It was a pretty cool concept, but did not like it being compared to other stuff. Completely originals, nigh on impossible these days. Echo Drakes or Dracomites, as a name maybe. Paradromic. From Param Draco, Little Dragon, for a more fancy word. Look at you, Calder! I like being able to say it's like X instead of having to write pages of info. It's easier to access shared knowledge base that we tend to have. 100% Gandian. I've got to ask, Gandian, are you from Gander? I don't have to ask. I'm going to ask because I'm interested. Calder the Necro. Yeah, Echo Drakes or Dracomites. Parum from Parum Draco, Little Dragon. I quite like Parum Drac. Echo Drakes is very cool. It's very fantasy. I'm actually from Canada. Gandhian is a reference to Gandhi. Oh, okay. I got some mates from Gander, so I thought I'd ask. Gander? It is Gander. Yeah. Hello, Canada. One of our players just moved to Canada, so she can't play anymore. Uganda. No. Ghana. I'm thinking of Ghana. Yeah, I'm thinking of Ghana. My bad. So yeah, you're not from Gander or Grenada. I mean, yeah. So I got it completely wrong. What I meant was Ghana, which you're not from. Who? Not Tuesday, Mabonix. So our Friday party. Angela, that used to play the Ram of the Frost Maiden. She's Canadian. She's got citizenship over there that was running out because she was in Ireland. So she wants to go back and keep her citizenship and stay there. So, fair play to her. But it just means the time she just can't. Then Tuesday's lot still here. Got a guy that was trying to argue all Marvel characters having levels in Monk after he weekly argued my counter of the Hulk. Oh yeah, Hulk is literally Bruce Lee incarnate. You know what I mean? Polaris got yeah. I mean, it's definitely a bold claim. What did you call it? Porumdrak. I can't like that. I'm taking that. Porumdrak. I tell you what I found quite difficult about this bastry is not making them massive monsters that you'd fight, if that makes sense. Like these are obviously we've written 3 pages of pets. We've got a fat squirrel that floats. We've got a fish with armoured scales. And now routing about chuffing Jack Russells, basically. You know, these drakes that are blind with massive bat-like ears. Kill mice. Like, the most devastating creature any high fantasy world has ever seen. But it is pretty interesting to just have that, what's the word? Like, knowledge of common base stuff in your world. Sheepdog dragons, essentially. Yeah. The Fantastic Force. Better cite Twitch chat as source. You might get sued if you don't. All my input is public. Yeah, to be fair. I will. I tend to always, if anything goes anywhere. Yeah, you're on my Discord now, Calder, so you'll be unfortunately dragged into it. If this makes me a millionaire, Calder, me and you slap up meal, McDonald's, make it a large. You know what I mean? I might get 2. Just, I've got a reputation to keep up. I'm on my Streamlabs trying to scroll up. I'm wondering why it's not scrolling up. Whoa there, sweet child of mine. Don't worry, Keeda. I mean, I'm always going to get you a McDonald's regardless of being a millionaire, so it's fine. You know what I mean? Pretty sure I owe you a McDonald's from last time we were together. I'll get next round in. Comment by storing files. No, not on very cheap. Huge ears, as flat as possible to muffle sound. What's a low sound that they'd react to? So obviously, like sheepdogs, you like whistle, Gumby, Gumby. Trying to think of some of them wouldn't be like they're obviously super sensitive at hearing. So how do I clicks maybe? Train them using the clicking of fingers. Yeah, so you can get gentle clicks. Soft clicking of fingers. So you can obviously do it quite loud. Da-dong, da-dong. You do, bless you. They could have long snouts and tongues, prevent overstimulation, clicker, maybe like rubbing the fingers together. I'm just trying to... Method. I'm going method. I'm trying to think. Practice my, Padam Drac training skills. I don't know how you'd rub the fingers certain ways to get different sounds. Like you can do soft clicking, just little clicks. And then, I suppose a loud click. I'll stick with clicking for now. Stick with clicking for now. Multiple fingers. What's so like one finger and then two? Because I suppose it would create a bit of a different sound if you're super good at hearing stuff. Yeah, fuck it. Let's click. They're getting clicks. Jesus. Right. What else we got? Tell you what. Let's not make it draconic. Let's have a different creature that brews. Let's go with goats. I need a better name. Side effect. Nope. Now this is it animates the things. Yes. So zombie like entities. So mature. And so zombie like entities. Common around there. Patch. What do you call it where animals live? Territories. That's it. Off. Found. Living. Etoria, yeah. Are there any very dark areas of Etoria? Ideally underground brain storing from for Paramdrak origins. Yeah, everywhere. So I'm not sure if Underdark is a copyrighted thing, but you know, we call it the beneath, the below. You know what I mean? I think the beneath gets used by some of the races in Ravenholm, like the common folk in Ravenholm call it the beneath. But in Etoria, yeah, there's definitely underground stuff. I tried to have everything, absolutely everything. Underground, overground, wandering free. You know what I mean? If you're old enough to remember the Wombles. But yeah, so there are no limits in Colossus, for it is colossal. So yeah, under it, over it, on it, above it. The in-between bits. It's all there. Under Mountains, Rothorns, Costerhorns, Palogram, Bilseron, Black Billies. Heavy check your Discord if you done. Copseragon as a Capricorn for goat. We'll call them works in progress, shall we? See these. See, like the Porundrak, I could see as, you know, I mean, everything's got stats in it. If you want to fight it, it's going to have an AC and some hit points. But it's a pet basically. Like I say, sheepdog. The armoured fish, they're a utility in their lives. The floating squirrels, again, just more addition to. Hey, what have we done here? Mountain Sleepers, just a cool little story. But these necro goats, they could actually be, you know, an encounter, especially with like having lair actions and stuff, because you're on their patch. Use necro. Need to change it from ghost. Those of an arcane interest. Oh. Interest. Often seek. Seek the bodies. No. Often seek them out to use them as providers. Pro-divers? As providers of powerful components for very specific spells. The problem with such a task is the goats do not like any form of living entity near them or within the boundaries of their territories and become extremely hostile. Against what can I call these death goats? Corpse of Corneus is a just call them woo-woos. How many editions of D&D Pathfinder have you played, and if you could magically make one the current mainstream edition, what would it be and why? Or which would it be and why? I have played just D&D Pathfinder. I have played Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, which was 2nd edition, which was my introduction to D&D. 3.5, Pathfinder 1, tiny bit of D&D 4th ed, D&D 5th ed, and Pathfinder 2nd edition. Now, I can't make one of them mainstream because they're two different flavours. It's a proper cop-out, but 5th ed for D&D, I'd make it mainstream only because it's super easy. It's again going back to that drafts, checkers, whatever you call it, and chess. I think D&D is very, very checkers type game. It's very fast. It's very easy. The rules, there's like 6 of them that you need to know, and you can play the game. It reminds me of Savage Worlds, actually. I played Savage Worlds, that was pretty cool. Where Savage Worlds is a little book that you pick up, and you can play any genre, sci-fi, cyberpunk, high fantasy, Wild West, whatever you wanted to do. Same system, couple of dice, and a notepad. Off you go. D&D 5th Ed reminds me of that. It's just really good at getting everyone involved. I know that. I always argue with my friends, like, it's a gateway, it's not a gateway, and people love rules and don't love rules, etc. Good night, Mabonix. Thank you very much. But I think 5th Ed's done really well at that. I get that there are certain famous people that play D&D 5th Ed, and they roll sometimes critically, hey. But that have obviously added to that. But my thing with that is that particular group of famous people, let's call them Critical Role, just put it out there, they started their game on Pathfinder. Like, they played 2 years of Pathfinder, they get into the streaming scene, they decide to play 5th Ed because it's obviously a large party, like they had 7 or 8 people in their original party. It's far easier to play a rule system that is super quick, super easy to homebrew on the fly. There's very little reading up on rules needed with 5th Ed, or at least in their entire stream once. I know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan. Hast, good evening. How are you doing this fine night? I'm doing really well, thank you. I got into Critical Role quite late. Fair play. I think they're brilliant. They're a really good story. What they do is great. And got an ad. Have you? Didn't even know I had ads on it. But yeah, fair play to them. Off they go. And they are almost single-handedly responsible for making D&D 5th Ed mainstream. But all that set aside, mate. Like, if anyone asks me, I want to get into tabletop, how do I do it? I'll give them D&D 5th Ed. It's just too easy to learn to not introduce someone to it that way. And I've had loads of mates that find it quite complicated, so I'm like, this is perfect for you then. Like, just don't ever try something else. This is perfect for you. And other people will play one session of it and be like, it's a bit easy, and off they go. I super enjoyed Pathfinder, the first one. I felt it was a really cool clean-up of the other D&Ds. And I'm super in love with Pathfinder 2nd edition. So, it sounds stupid, but the most recent ones. And that's why. Pathfinder 2nd edition, to me, made a very mechanical game really fun is a stupid way of saying it. If you like mechanics, got an ad, now I have returned. I do apologise about the ad. I didn't even know they popped up on my stream. If you really like mechanics and the amount of option to you in Pathfinder 2nd edition is crazy. So Pathfinder 2nd edition for me is and also I don't have to, but because I stream all my games, because I just love collaborative storytelling. I love the chat being involved. I love people thinking of story plot lines or what they think is going to happen in the story and writing it in chat. I kind of love the streaming platform. I think it's a really cool way of just. I guess it's not for everyone. Like, watching someone play D&D can be very boring, but I'm just a bit of an addict when it comes to stories. Like, I'll happily watch folk that are maybe not, super famous or super charismatic's a bit harsh to say, but they've got their own style and it's not for everyone. But I like their story, so I'll watch them. So Pathfinder's quite difficult to stream. So for me personally, I play my Pathfinder games off stream, although I'm trying to slowly bring it into folk and run the start box and stuff. Calder stuff, beautiful. I'll be stealing that. Try, yeah. Good. I'm good. Oh, I have returned. I would say 5th Ed is easier than 4E. No debate. 3E is debatably as easy as 5E. However, what makes you say 5E is easier than say 2nd or 1st? Just come back from a session, play my Warforge Forge Cleric. I believe I dealt the most damage I ever have with a level 1 spell. Did 59 damage with the Inflict Wounds. Got myself an out. Well played, Hast. Well played, Clerics. Unbelievable. No system of Clerics ever not been badass if you play them well. And I love Warforged, I love Clerics, and I love the Forge domain, so you've ticked a lot of boxes. 3 I wouldn't say is debatable as easy as 5. 3 brought in the you roll a d20 and then add some numbers to it, but it still had I say easy, like to me I didn't find them difficult, but when putting it into a group of people that are new, and a lot of my time is bringing my friends that have never played tabletop in, so I rarely my experienced players are experienced because I've played with them since they were new. I can't remember a session I went into where everyone was a veteran of D&D. So 3rd Ed or 3.5 was the one I played the most before these days. It was like touch AC, flat-footed AC, those sorts of little modifiers and stuff. Circumstance bonus, which, to counter what I'm saying, is all still available in Pathfinder games. But 3rd to 5th D&D, I just think the modifiers were, because they're not there in 5th Ed, that's what makes it easier and more fluid. In 5th Ed, have you got advantage? No. How do I get it? Has your opponent got disadvantage? No. How do I make them have it? That's your biggest thing to work out as a strategy. I get you can talk for hours and hours. Well, you could use flight, and you can, go invisible, and you can do all this. People can give examples to say, I get that. I just think 5th Ed nailed it with an almost beginner's tabletop game. 3rd Ed, you still needed to learn it to then be good at it. 5th Ed, I think you can not learn it and still be able to do it. I don't really know how to word that. And why do I think it's easier than say 2nd or 1st? Thaco. To hit armor class 0. That's the only thing in 2nd edition that makes 5th Ed easier than it. But again, like it's down to the people in front of you. Like, I've had my 8-year-old and 9-year-old, soon to be 10, sons understand 5th Ed, but that's all all I've shown them how to do. I mean, they don't fucking, sorry for the language, they don't play regular or anything, but they've had a few sessions, and when they were a bit younger, they'd like run around the battle board and Billy Basic Math and stuff like that. It's far easier to describe if you stand opposite your brother with this bandit in the middle, you get to roll 2 dice and pick the highest number, than it is to go, well, if your brother stands here, the baddie's armor class drops if you use this spell, but then if they've got dexterity, their armor class is that. It's so that'll be it's just my personal experience when I've been trying to teach people D&D when they've come to me. 3.5, some folk had issues. 5e, no folks had issues. Probably just the people at the time. Again, I'm not entirely sure I've answered your question, but I'll go with it. An earlier session I dealt 4 damage with an inflict wounds. Got an inspiration dash from the DM. That's an @20 I got now. It redeemed itself. Asked, do you allow your players to go for specific parts of the body, like I aim for his leg, head, etc.? Yes and no. If you hit in some, you're fighting a bandit, they've got a crossbow, and it's in the right hand, and you want to aim for it, I'll let you aim for it. I might have their AC up by 1, or, make you at a -1 type thing, it's on the fly. If you land it, I might say that their next attack is at disadvantage, or stuff like that. If you're hitting a creature like an ancient dragon, and you're like, I shoot it in the leg, I'll be like, cool. You shoot your crossbow into its leg. So it's kind of judged on the. I aim for the eye, for the bandit's eye with my heavy crossbow. Blind it. You give them blindness, disadvantage on the next attack. The thing with, especially in 5th Ed, it's fast. It's very fast. So, the way we play it can be very fast. because those calls, I want to shoot them in the eye. Cool, bang. You aim for the eye. Their AC is 16 instead of 14. I've hit it. Nice. Do your damage. Boom. They're now blind. They're at disadvantage for all their attacks. You know, stuff like that. It's just quick. If you get to... Like, there's a game called Han, and there's lots of other games. They're very specific, so if you, like, chop someone's arm off, you can chop their leg off, you can take one eye out, cut an ear off, and all that palaver. But doing it like a global, boom, get on with it. Would it then be fair for bad guys to do the same to you? I don't see why not. In a world where magical healing's a thing, shooting someone in the eye to give them disadvantage for the fight, yeah, it's painful, you can roleplay that you're in agony. But your cleric's just going to go, whoom, and you're back to the good stuff. So... But I suppose... calling shots like that are very specific. So, for example, I don't know if you spend a lot of time fighting in the streets in your local neighbourhood, but if there's 5 of you and 1 bandit, so if that one person tries to mug you and your 5 mates, you don't say to your mate, "Watch this, I'm gonna throw this stone at their left hand." You and your 5 mates beat the crap out of them and say, "Don't try and mug me again." Yeah. It's unlikely your mate's throwing a fireball around, but so calling shots like that, they're pretty thematic, and it's cool, and it's nice to have in a description of your battle. But I don't see a real need for them, other than it being really thematic. Yeah, so and that's another thing. The whole baddie running away, like. Some creatures generally would run away. They've had healing all their lives. Like you say, even low-level druids and such could create like good berries. You got one druid in a bunch of bandits, just give them good berries every day. You know what I mean? So they don't die. They don't, you know. So they would fight because they think, you know, well, if we beat them up more than they beat us up, we'll just heal ourselves anyway. And it's only when you're the last one standing that it's going to turn around and go, I need to go. So healing not only replenishes hit points but also disabilities. That's grey as that's super grey is the is that sort of question. Like it's just too grey. There's too many details around that sort of thing. It's best just to accept it that if you're damaged, healing magic can undamage you, and if there are certain things about your personal choice for your character that you wish to remain in place, that may take the label a disability, then that's your call. It's your character, you build your character. There's a really cool thing, I think she still goes on, I think they still go on the on Twitter as the disabled DM, and they created the battle wheelchair. I don't know if this is new to you, but they got absolutely hammered on Twitter just for doing a cool thing. Like some people just got too much anger in their lives, to be fair. But to me, if you've got, for example, if you're playing that your character has got an illness, a physical disability, or what you is classed as a physical disability, and I throw a cleric healing spell on you, and you want to get your hit points back, but you wish for that disability to remain because it is your choice as your character. Go for it. No DM should force it, and no player should turn to another player and go, no, you're better now because I'm a cleric and I'll fix you. So, and I get that obviously taking someone's eye out is a disability in the making, but at the same time you could argue that it's just a wound and it's a magic healing. A wizard did it. How do you you can't, like, in a few more levels that wizard's going to be able to grant you a wish. Do you know what I mean? So you've got true resurrection, and you can be reincarnated into a dwarf body and stuff like this. So I said it was a grey area, and then I try to explain it, so my bad. I think it's your call. As long as you and your party are happy with certain things healing certain things and not other things, then fuck the rest of the world. Enjoy yourselves, keep it in-house, and be happy. For the NPCs in small towns, etc., not full clerics, but they have like magic initiate cleric. Yeah, exactly. Small little cantrips, and healing word is obviously a very low level spell. But if you're able to sing or pray and cast healing word, you're pretty much a badass, especially in a little village. What's the scene when lycanthropy gets healed of everything and does his lycanthropy? Exactly, Hash. You're about exactly. So what you're saying is you would rule it that certain healing levels of power would heal levels of effect on that character, But at the same time, what if your player wants to be deaf? Like, they want to be deaf. They want to play the character as somebody who is deaf, or they want to play a character who is blind. So yeah, you bang out the true magic on it. But I can't believe I'm going to say this, but is there not an episode of Star Trek where, I don't know his name, I'm not a Trekkie, the lad with the visor gets sight back and he can't handle it? He doesn't like having his true sight. He goes back to wearing the visor, I think. Don't quote me on it. I don't think I've seen it as a nipper. And like, sometimes it's part of the character, and it might be personal to that player. Yeah, there you go. So it might be personal to that player, that particular disability. If you've got a player that's just been a whammer, but if you're going to have a disability on your character, I'd hope that the player has got a very good reason for it, and not a respectful reason for it, rather than just doing it because they think, oh, this would be cool. So getting rid of it just because magic can, it's just between you and the player. Just give them a heads up that in your world, this cleric truly believes that if they do greater restoration on you, it'll solve that X disability. And if that player turns around and goes, I don't want it to solve it, I'm happy for all the other stuff to go, but I don't want it to solve it, then don't solve it. Don't force it. Jesus. Lycanthropy. Some players lycanthropy get seal of everything, loses lycanthropy. So again, it's obviously less of a more real world thing and more of a supernatural thing, but that's your call as a DM. Like, the curse of lycanthropy, does it bind to your soul, so therefore literally becomes part of your soul, so when it gets restored, there's nothing third party to you because it's now part of your soul, so therefore you are now a lycanthrope. Like, there's not a cure to get rid of it. It's not who you are. It's like what it is. Or do you go, yeah, it's just a curse. Van Helsing comes along, drops a powerful remove lycanthropy spell of doom on you. You're no longer a lycanthrope. Again, it's just personal DMing, I suppose. I played a deaf wizard. We made it so his family had been cursed where every third son was born deaf, etc. So it was not healed away, etc. It is not. If you're born with lycanthropy, it can't be cured, but if you're bitten, it can be removed. Again, I'd say that's down to you as a storyteller. What if you're bitten by the first werewolf or were creature, like the alpha, or whatever terminology you want to use? Is that a more potent bite than the one that's just been turned 3 weeks ago and decided to bite you because you were walking past? The malted one. This is getting deep. It's getting deep, kids. Made a character with disabilities with the express purpose of the character figuring out a way around it herself, or part of the backstory so that she has reason for how she is. Both in the case of the she referred to here. Been here the entire time. That's right, yeah. Well, the numbers did drop, so I assumed it were one of you lot. Yeah, so I personally have some experiences in the world with folks with disabilities. Obviously, others will have. My school, I grew up with we had a lot of children there that had hearing difficulties of varying levels. So we grew up in our immediate youth using like sign language for like in assemblies or when we were doing plays and stuff like this. So it was kind of just second nature to us. So I feel comfortable when I have hearing difficulties on my characters or my NPCs, because I think I'm doing it respectfully and just giving it a nod to folk that were far better at things than I did, and some people didn't give them light of day because they had hearing difficulties. So it's kind of a. I don't want to get all political on it. I'm just saying, like, people's experiences are different, and as long as you and the players are happy, and you're not being an absolute whammer to the rest of the world, I think there are, I experienced, my grandfather had a real bad dementia and stuff. So one of the characters in my Tuesday game experienced it in a. Basically, they got stabbed by short version, stabbed by a demon. It shattered their echoes, and the way I described it and role played it, it was as if they had dementia because I had the experience with my grandfather, and it was no weird, well, can't you just cure great restoration on them? I wanted that to be a thing. And it's cheesy, but my storytelling is my way of experience, sharing my life experiences and how I got through them. My God, this got deep to say we were just creating goats and chuffing fish. Whew! The wizard we made, none of his spells had verbal components anymore, but they changed. Another character that happens to have disabilities is a world building reason for it. Cultural problem of the area they're from. Yeah, exactly. You're hard of hearing yourself. I use hearing aids in real life. There you go. There you go. Had to research a couple of real mental health problems, and that's the other thing. Like, there's so many things that touch on real life, and I go back to the combat wheelchair. Like, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like, more people, thankfully, look to the positive, cool introduction of it, than just arguing and go, yeah, but clerics. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Like, if they're having fun, leave them alone. And if you are, if you're looking into introducing things into your game, everything I always ask my part is the stuff you don't want me to touch on. They might have someone in their family that had dementia, and then I'm obviously then role playing this through an NPC. It might be uncomfortable for them. So they just make sure if you plan to touch on any of those, just run it by your players first. Streaming's different, I get that, but just you and your table, make sure that you're decent people. You know what I mean? And schizophrenia and a form of dyslexia. There you go. And there's those small things that you could just add in. It's just a bit of a nod to things that actually exist, and not everyone in your world is a superhero or a perfect specimen of a human. Farmers having back pain. So many people miss that sort of description. These farmers, like, how old's this farmer? 60. Oh, they stood up straight, broad shoulders, chuffing. Retired adventurer, level 12 fighter, but you've just spent 40 years. You spent 20 years as an adventurer, 40 years as a farmer. Your back's going to hurt. You know what I mean? No. Yeah, it just got deep, folks. Jesus. Got 5 minutes, and now I'm jumping off, I think. So I've been going 3.5 hours. And my brain hurts. And I got work in the morning. Only problem I have playing him is that his story is madly predictable. That's not a bad thing. It's been a fun stream, heavy. Cheers, Kida. Ah, yeah. So, like Avatar, so the movements and the counters and patterns they do to create the magic. That's good. Thanks for giving us company this Sunday night. It's been a pleasure, Kida. In fact, right back at you. Right, it's been a proper interactive. I'm really happy. He's a paranosis wizard, amassing great power to fulfill a feat that may not be possible. As all wizards should do. The malted one. They should all amass great power. For no reason. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, exactly. It was Hast, and I'm having it. Give me a sec. Let's add that. Add more to the list of suing. Tell you, that large McDonald's, Calder, that's what it's all about. That's the dream. That's the dream. Cool. You're on my Discord anyway, aren't you now, Calder? So we'll have a look. MKSC66 now following. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The dream, the large McDonald's. And yeah, Malted one, like you say, every backstory, every thingy. So I don't think there's anything wrong with predictability in storylines, because there's a inevitability of the story. So it's a case of, yes, you have predicted that this particular NPC that I've described a lot is going to try and wipe out this nation with power word kill en masse. And it's going to happen. So you've got a choice. You can go adventure over there and kill dragons and get lots of Vorpal longswords, or you can get involved in the thick of it and take down this mad wizard. Poison acids for damage, maybe a splash of lightning. Splash. There's otherwise utility support wizard. Use alchemy to produce poisons for party use, which is cool. That's very cool. I love alchemy, and I make I try when available to make a big deal of it, because I'm a big fan of like weapon oils and stuff like this, potions, even mild ones that like druids that don't create a healing potion for 4,000 gold. Can make little one-shot potions that basically, I don't know, you get a bit of bark skin across your face or whatever, so you got a +1 AC for a fight, or you get a weapon oil of, strike for banishment. Expensive, well made, but doesn't cost you a spell slot in the fight because you've got a powerful alchemist. Made my RDM say, what? When I asked to buy £300 of apples and a pack mule. Well, you're making Scrumpy Jack. Been working on some potion crafting rules. I can do it. Please do it, Carlo. In fact, what I'll do is, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to create a channel, and I'm going to call it Homebrew. Oh. Homebrew ideas. Right, I've created a channel. There you go. Look at that. Oh, thank you, Keita. There you go, Calder. There's a channel called Homebrew Ideas. You go nuts. Arsenic can be made from apple seed skins after reduction from alembic, real life knowledge. So, I just heard Scrumpy Jack. Cadavar Elite. Evening. How are you? I'm desperately trying to get off the stream, but more people keep tipping up. Pleased to meet you, Cadaver. Got a Yorkshire spin on it. I do apologise. Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday evening. Real life knowledge is pretty cool as well, especially when you're spinning like descriptions of stuff, and because that'd be cool to walk in and you got a wizard like with vats of apples and stuff. Arsenic is on the top 5 strongest natural poisons known. I can believe that. I can believe it. When I was a kid, I used to call it aniseed. So I used to thought I was like nails and super strong because I used to love aniseed bones. Turns out, just didn't know what we're talking about. Yeah, cyanide from cherry. I knew the cyanide one from cherry pits. I don't know why I knew that. I think I've seen it in a chuffing. What do you call it? CSI? Is it CSI that you used to watch?
Yeah.
CSI?
With Criminal Minds.
There's what?
CSI or Criminal Minds.
Not criminal. It was CSI. What's his face? Grissom? Yeah, Jesus. We're too old. We're old. We're old. Right, I gotta get off. It's late. Or it is for me. And I need to get ready for the old bed before my children wake me up in a few hours. And by children, I mean my wife telling me to wake up because the children are awake. The cherry thing after I did the apple thing. Fair. Shared knowledge, Malted one. If you have just joined us and you wish to join in on our world building streams, I'll try to do more and more. But obviously, I don't really have a schedule for the world building streams. But we do stream on a Tuesday, which is my D&D session of this world. It's cool. I think it's cool. We have fun. Feel free to drop in. Or just click on the all notifications. I don't really know how to do the selling point of this, but if you want to know when we're live, click whatever you need to click to know we're alive. And you can join the Discord where I tell people I'm going live. And I know everyone's got a Discord, and people are on like 4,000 Discords. But yeah, follow us everywhere. We're on social media. Click the buttons underneath. Thank you very much for your input. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the shared knowledge. I'm going to go buy £300 of apple seed now and cherry pits for no reason. Take care of your lovely selves. Calder, I'm going to abuse your contributions. So take care of yourselves. Thank you very much. And, well, yeah, gravy. Enjoy the gravy. Goodbye.